Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
For some reason, I forgot what I was doing next. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, October 9th, 2024, and you are in the Java Cafe. We are glad to have you here this morning. Listen, do me a favor and hit that share button and invite parents and others, education advocates, students, for the ones that, are in special programming and AP classes that, may be out of school right now. All the other kids should be in school. We have our Secretary of Education, who is no stranger to the Java Cafe. He has been with us before. There are a lot of things that we're going to talk about today, just what the priorities are for this year. We're going to talk about their investment in mental health. The governor made an investment in mental health, literacy, and also what old school folks would call truancy, or now I believe it's called absenteeism. Well, we want to tell you what the State Department of Education is doing to address that. And so without further ado, because we want to make the best use of his time, I got to see this brother this weekend, have a nice little picture. If tech works right, I might be able to pull up. Saw him in some Black Joy at the Black Boy Joy Summit.
That's right.
Sir, it is good to see you in the room. Good to physically grip you up the other day and see you at the Black Boy Joy Summit. So let me allow you opportunity once again to say hello to our audience and describe your feelings, your response to the event on Saturday. And then we'll jump in because I know, you got a lot of things going on. So we only have a little bit of time with you. But say hello and then let us know what you thought about Saturday.
Yeah. Well, first, it is great to be back with you, Jimmy, and great to meet you in person
Yes,
on Saturday at the Black Boy Joy Summit. I am Pat Tutwiler, and I have the great pleasure of serving as your Secretary of Education. Let me tell you about Saturday, and I messaged Brother Craig this after I left. That summit, which it really is the first of its kind that I've experienced in Massachusetts in my nearly 25 years in the work, was just so inspiring and so uplifting to be in a room with that many youth, boys of color, who were there to listen, learn, connect. It was really uplifting to me. My cup was full when I left. And I also want to appreciate you for the words that you shared on that panel. They were inspiring. They were honest. And I'm sure that those young men walked out with some nuggets of wisdom in their pockets. So I really appreciate your commentary there as well.
I appreciate you, sir, for that. I'm doing better with the whole flowers thing. And it was amazing to, there were a few young men, about 5 of them that reached out. A few said, hey, I want to keep in touch with you. And I said, absolutely. And so we thank Brother Craig for that. We thank all of the sponsors, the New Commonwealth Fund, the Black Men and Boys Commission, and the Black Male Advancement, Brother Craig, and everybody that did that. And so that is definitely something that you need, because you move in a space where you have the responsibility for the education, secondary sort of education, if I'm right, the Department of Secondary Education. Am I correct?
Well, actually, each of the 3 sectors, early education and care, that's birth through 5,
yep.
K to 12, as well as higher ed.
Oh, so okay. So I'm looking
higher
at,
ed.
I've been out of government for a while, so some of the acronyms here. And so with that joy that you walked out with, it's good to have that balance, but there's a lot of hard work that's going into addressing absenteeism, that's addressing, mental health, and especially post pandemic. And so let's get in and talk to the priorities with a lot of the things that the governor has made investments in. What are the priorities for your department this year?
Yeah, well, first, let me just sort of lift up again. We had this incredible and uplifting experience this weekend, but we are still in the beginning of the school year, right? We're about 4 or 5 weeks into the school year, depending on when your school district started. And I think there's unanimity around the idea that the beginning of the school year is positive, right? So much optimism and excitement about the beginning of the school year. And we're wrapping our proverbial arms around that positivity, around that enthusiasm, around that optimism, and using it as a mechanism to sort of carry us through the remainder of the year with an initiative that we've launched called Your Presence is Powerful. We're really sending a strong message to students and their families that their presence is powerful in school. This is their opportunity to connect with their peers, to gain access to all the resources that schools have available for them, to learn and grow. But you got to be present to get those things. And as you noted, the chronic absenteeism rates in Massachusetts, in fact, nationally, remain deeply, deeply concerning. In Massachusetts last year, it was 19%. And that means that 19% of the students in the attending public schools in Massachusetts were missing 10% of the school year, or 18 days, which in my view is the virtual equivalent of a month of school. We're not going to see the kind of advancements, the kind of recovery in the academic space until we address absenteeism. And at the root of that, invariably, is mental health.
Hold on, Secretary. Now, listen, I'm a pretty educated brother.
Yeah,
pretty articulate. What was the word you just said? The what? The variability.
Invariably.
Invariably. Okay, sir. So I need you to spell it and give it a definition. Let's go to school real quick.
Listen, I was told there'd be no spelling here this morning, and it would take me minutes to get that down with spelling. I can speak it, but what I'm trying to declare is, we believe that mental health is at the core of many of the challenges around absenteeism. And a couple of big things that we've done under the Healy Driscoll administration. First, last year, we released about $4 million in grants through the Department of Elementary and Secondary Ed to help school districts build out more robustly their attendance systems. What does the outreach look like? What are the tiered responses? How do we get the entire school community together to understand the importance of attending? Additionally, in FY25, the year that we're in right now, the governor proposed and got to the finish line $5 million that is designed to do two important things. One, deepen existing efforts designed to address mental health already in place in schools, and then to build something that doesn't exist in Massachusetts. And frankly, I don't know that it exists in another state at all. And that is a mental health framework from birth through higher education. How are we defining the issue? What are the best practices around addressing the issue? And how do we get the allocation and the resources to make that happen? And then finally, once we've defined it and sort of gotten together around best practice, how are we measuring progress toward our North Star in this really important realm? How do we know things are getting better? And so these dollars are designed to build that out. I'm really, really excited to begin this work, because we know that this is a challenge that we're experiencing now in this post-pandemic era, but we also know that there were challenges before the pandemic as well. And so we want to get this right with this framework.
Absolutely. I wanted to also check in and ask you, that investment made in mental health. You and I are both Black men. What is the and I'm Black Men Boys commissioner in the city of Boston, though you're for the whole state. Just to give some context to why I asked this and take the opportunity that I have you here. how important is it that that mental health approach, along with the apps and all of the initiatives that the governor is making investments in, is there sort of that attention to a population that oftentimes drops out at a higher rate, if I'm correct, and often deals with unaddressed mental health? You know, there may be gaps for those that may reach out in schools that are doing it, and it's there. Now it's being increased, and folks still may not tap in. And men in general, there's a perception of some that men in general don't prioritize health. And then specifically with all that we face as Black men in our intersectionalities, is there some specific focus, sir, on our demographic?
Yeah, absolutely. And so what you're speaking to is real, and particularly in my community and your community, the conversation around mental health can often be, a little bit of something that people want to shy away from, or don't have deep knowledge to, or have a mindset around it that doesn't sort of prioritize it, right? And so we've got to be culturally responsive in this effort, and that is definitely at the forefront of our thoughts as we build out this framework, and as we participate in existing efforts. It's got to be culturally responsive. You got to understand how to reach people. You have to understand what the barriers might be, that people might be experiencing the mental health challenge, but might not want to access the many resources that are available to them. How do you get to them? What are the conversations? What are the entry points? And so that is very much front of mind. Absolutely.
I was going to say the same exact thing. Secretary, this evening I have an opportunity to attend an event that is being sponsored by 826 Boston, the Night of 1,000 Stories, and their focus is literacy.
Yes.
I got to speak with Director Farrell the other day, and we were talking about just the importance of literacy with the same population that I just asked you about. But in general, can you speak to the investments? Because, I remember running a program some years ago, Read to Lead. It was a violence prevention program, but it took middle school students into Head Start programs, and they read to the students. And so, the students saw folks that look like them. And so talk about the investments that the governor is making in literacy programs, because that's huge.
Yeah, happy to. First, let me just say that the governor is deeply committed to transforming the literacy landscape in Massachusetts. And she's done so by a very ambitious, very aggressive proposal in the FY25 budget that got to the finish line, $20 million in a program we're calling Literacy Launch. And this is going to do substantively a few really important things. One, broad-based professional development for K-3 staff and pre-K staff throughout the Commonwealth. Two, it will address how teachers are trained to teach reading in schools of education in Massachusetts. And three, it will address with a smaller subset of districts, building out more robustly their systems and structures around literacy instruction, purchasing high quality instructional materials, the professional development that goes along with it, and then the personnel that you need to effectuate a really strong literacy program. This is the first of a 5-year effort to really get to the finish line with making sure that every student is reading proficiently by grade 3 in Massachusetts. And right now, about half are. And I think when you peel back those layers and look at who's in that half, I mean, it's there's a very concerning disproportionate attribution to Black, Brown, and multilingual students. And so you can see where the governor's equity lens is on this. And we're leaning into this robustly. There's one other thing that I would add to it that is tangential or related to the literacy work, and that is the Gateway to Pre-K program. We know that preschool or early education and care experiences for students has a significant impact on their early elementary success, particularly in literacy. And so the governor's committed to getting universal pre-K for statewide, but she's starting with the gateway communities and getting there for by 2026, universal pre-K for 4-year-olds, and we are deeply engaged in that work right now.
It is that for me is a vital investments, as in whenever there's investments made in can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
What was that that cup?
It is Java with Jimmy. So,
yes, I didn't see a green. I didn't see it,
yeah. This is
Auburn. Get you a Java with Jimmy.
This is Auburn University, which I have no connection to. But when I was a high school principal, my students, when they either went to schools or went to visit schools, they would often bring me back a mug. And so I had a student that went down south to Auburn and brought me back that mug. So I'm sipping from that mug and reflecting on being an educator.
Absolutely. I just had to, just mess with you a little bit. We go hard here in Massachusetts when it comes to our fandom. The last thing I want to ask you, one thing that you talked about is the disproportionate impact on issues, the disproportionate life experience of parents and students that lead to absenteeism, that lead to truancy. And I believe that truancy and absence, okay, I'm old school, they're the same thing. Truancy isn't what was it? Tardy extreme tardy. That was the thing when I was in school. We would walk in second period, walk in right before lunch, fourth period. So yes. Let me see how I frame this. We as taxpayers want to ensure that there is accountability for the education system.
Sure.
There's some, there's a consideration that taxpayers can make, oftentimes every few years and things, how do we ensure that there is accountability in consideration of taxpayers' influence on policy? Ooh, I did well with that one. You kind of know where I am, Secretary.
Yeah. So one, I will say, let me just clarify just quickly on absenteeism. We were talking about chronic absenteeism, which is missing 10% of the school year. Accountability. What I'm hearing from you is, how do taxpayers hold folk accountable for these many challenges that we have? And I would just say, if I'm understanding your question correctly, that is accountability. Accountability is something we gravitate toward. I want to be held accountable. I want to show and prove that we are using taxpayer dollars thoughtfully and effectively to address the issues that we know students are experiencing. And so the accountability conversation is one that I welcome because we are doing things in a very thoughtful way and targeted to the very issues that we know are hitting communities the hardest. And I will say, beginning to see, as I noted with chronic absenteeism, it's actually down 5% from the previous year. Seeing progress and results is really the name of the game, right? Like, so the accountability conversation is one that I welcome.
You know what I'm speaking to, but you're here in your capacity as the Secretary of Education, but I heard that you gravitate toward accountability.
No doubt.
Okay.
No doubt.
Yes, sir. The last thing I want to check in with you about, I know, the governor, here in the state, we really, to some extent, and correct me if I'm wrong, have no control. One of the things sometimes when, people find out, folks like yourself, the governor, the mayor are coming on, my inbox and my DMs get very interesting in text. No particular bearing, if I'm right, or if there is, educate us and give us an update. Student loan debt. It sometimes is facilitated through state, and we also just want to, before you go to, I want to end on a good note. So maybe we'll talk about the free college and end on a good note.
Oh, I'm going there right now on that question that you just asked. I'm going there right now.
Go ahead, sir. Do
Okay.
you?
One of the ways that Governor Healy is really sort of living her equity imperative is through the work that we're doing in the higher ed sector. As you know, right now, there's free community college in Massachusetts. You are a resident, you can access any one of the 15 community colleges in Massachusetts, whether you want to go for an associate's degree or you want to get an industry recognized credential, you can do so, and it costs you nothing. And the books are covered and the supplies are covered. And if you qualify, there's even a stipend to help you sort of get by and stay in. One, two,
Mr. As the kids say, they don't say y'all last names in school, which cracks me up. They say Miss and Mr. And somehow y'all educators know exactly who they're talking to. I got a question.
Lay it on me.
Old heads, like old heads, like me, the one you're looking at.
And me.
And are we eligible, or is this
of course? Well, to your point,
it's not just out of high school. It
no.
is Massachusetts resident. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Doesn't matter whether you're 18 or 58. You can access free community college in Massachusetts. This is both an equity imperative, but also an economic imperative. We want to provide the opportunity for folks to realize their dreams by accessing community college for free in Massachusetts. That exists right now. This year, we've seen a 10,000 student increase over the previous fall of students who are taking advantage of it. All shapes, sizes, and ages are taking advantage of this, Jimmy, and we are thrilled to offer it. Can I also add really quickly, last year, under the governor's leadership, we doubled financial aid in Massachusetts, which did two things substantively. One, it made access to 4-year public institutions of higher ed or 2-year free if you are Pell eligible, the sort of federal definition of economically disadvantaged. Tuition, books, supplies covered. If you earn an adjusted gross income between $70,000 and $100,000, you could access any institution, any public institution of higher ed for half of the out-of-pocket expenses are cut in half for you through this state scholarship program. And so we are deeply, deeply committed to removing the barriers to higher education and ensuring that people can get through without the burden of debt.
That sort of proactive and then not proactive and then a response to that is huge. There's so many implications that stop folks from going to get education that we know addresses the wealth gap and everything that comes with that. Secretary, as always, sir, I appreciate you coming in and keeping us updated with what's going on, being real around the challenges. And a couple of folks on Instagram were asking about the links. It shows up on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, Instagram, we'll figure it out. But you can go to Java with Jimmy, see the episode, or Facebook and see the comments in there. But we'll figure out a way one day to get these links and resources available on Instagram. Secretary, please give the governor my best.
Will do.
We're looking to chat with her again soon around the holidays and see what she's doing over there under the dome. But thank you for being with us. Give Jason my best. I seen him in the comments here, making sure we have those resources.
Yep.
So I appreciate you, sir. And
looking
forward to seeing you in community again soon.
No doubt. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thank you. All day, sir. All day.
Be well.
Everyone, I hope you had the opportunity to either check the links or hear from the secretary directly what he was talking about in reference to what their department is doing around education and these investments. I mean, I'm looking on my screen right now. So 20 million for the literacy, 5 million for the mental health, 20. And I don't see a particular number. Jason, if you're still in, so far we're at 25. as far as money, and let's see another number with money. So 25 million. Now I'm not, huge education advocate and can't give an assessment of that and other investments and whatnot, but he said he got receipts and numbers, 5% decrease in absenteeism. And that piece on mental health is huge, 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 huge. And so, but we have to take advantage of it. And now that he's off screen, y'all see me struggling around trying to feel him out as an individual, around this ballot question around, I was going to say, Lord Jesus, I'm old. I was going to say charter schools. I'm going back a few elections, around the MCAS. And so let me see, November 5th. We'll see if we can bring a couple of people into the conversation, into the cafe about MCAS. I reached out to someone the other day and they said yes. I reached out to someone the other day and they said no. So, and it's huge. It's similar to what, I think if again, not my space. I don't do a lot of advocacy in this space, but just as an external person being aware, seeing things online, ads, a couple of convos, this has the potential to have this similar, if not more, impact on the education system than that charter question. And so do your research, chat with those that are in the education space, chat with those that that are teachers, chat with those that maybe do some operations, chat with some charter school folks, because I believe they have to pass it too. It's a state law. And so, all right, I'm going to get ready to get off of here, everyone. It is 10:31, so UCB, you all get your hour today. Tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Viewers, UCB members, Java family members, you all can come back. We are going to have our Waterfront Wednesday today at noon. We have Sierra coming that's going to chat with us at 12 noon about the work that her agency is doing in collaboration with all of the wonderful folks that are part of the Boston Waterfront Coalition, of which I am a huge supporter. And look out, maybe sometime before the end of the year, we may want to check in with you just about some waterfront things. So just be on the lookout about that. And I think that is it until noon tonight. I had the opportunity to do I believe they said it was going to be a blue carpet, not red. With 826 Boston, they are having their fundraiser, A Night of 1,000 Stories. And Nia Grace, a friend of mine, is being honored along with the other guests that will be there is Desmond Hall, who is a author as well, Jamaican-born author. And so the students are going to be honored as well. And they're going to feature some of their talent. And so great opportunity this evening. I also want to give a shout out to Franklin Cummings Tech. Now, I'm old. Again, we just called it Franklin Cummings Institute back in the day, but it's now FC Tech, Franklin Cummings Institute of Technology. But I had an opportunity to moderate a panel there. And this education equity thing we're talking about, we need to pay attention to what's going on in the blue and green jobs and clean energy and education, and making sure our young people are aligned to get into these industries. AI, that's the next thing to come, that's going to be huge. It's huge now. And so it's imperative that we, while we're talking about education, that we take advantage of opportunities, and they are making huge investments and taking with their partners and others, taking a real approach. Hopefully we'll have Dr. Aisha on soon to chat with us. And yeah, we had the opportunity to do that. And then right at 6 o'clock, a few minutes after 6, we made it over to the Garden of Eden Associates, led by Arona Stewart, for the Trailblazer Awards last evening. I'll talk more about some of what I've been doing on Thursdays, as we're going to have a shot of Java. That's when, it's just me. So we'll talk more about events and things. We'll talk about tonight's event for 826 Boston as well. So that's it for me. We will see everyone this afternoon at 12 noon. Come back for our Waterfront Wednesday. Shout out to everybody over on Instagram, folks that are on Twitter. I just need y'all to still go in one day and hit the chat and converse with us. Some folks do it on Instagram. Everybody does it on Facebook and LinkedIn as well. So, all right, that's it for me, everyone. We will see you in less than 90 minutes back for our Waterfront Wednesdays. Have a great next 90 minutes before you go get ready to get your lunch. And even if you're getting your lunch, I'm hearing a lot of people, y'all are getting into work now at 10 o'clock. You're settled, can't watch, but putting your phone down, popping the headphone in. So do that at 12 while you're at lunch as well. Come back and join us for Waterfront Wednesday. Again, thank you all for being here. We appreciate you, and we'll see you at 12 noon. Peace, everybody. Thank you.